When children dump food on the floor, refuse homework, or melt down at bedtime, adults call it defiance. It's not. It's a system failure. Children don't rise to our intentions. They rise to the systems we build around them. So here's what it looks like. A child dumps food on the floor. Then what happens? Homework starts like it's stalling. Bedtime becomes a negotiation. And in that moment, children and parents do what matters most and what they think makes sense. They explain. They repeat themselves. And the room fills with the same familiar script. Stop. Listen. I already told you that. And when that doesn't work, the volume rises. The consequences get bigger. And the frustration builds. Now, from the outside, it looks like a child just doesn't want to cooperate. But the behavior keeps coming back. The same arguments, the same power struggles, the same exhaustion. And it's not because parents aren't trying hard enough. It's not because they don't care. It's because the system was never built. So what's actually missing? I want you to think about a moment, a specific behavior that keeps repeating in your home and in your life. Hold it in your mind. That's not a control problem. That's a system that needs to be designed. In high-performing environments, they don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems. Schools run on systems. Hospitals run on systems. Airplanes run on systems. We don't fix planes by yelling at them. And we don't improve hospitals by threatening the staff. When something fails, we redesign the system. But in homes, that's the one place where children are expected to perform, and there's no system. And no matter what they do, as they struggle inside that environment, what happens is that we punish the child. That's the disconnect. Because children don't rise to our intentions, they rise to the systems we build around them. Now, I learned this many years ago. We had a child named Sean who practically lived in my office. If anything happened in the classroom, Sean was sent to me. If anything was challenging, Sean was sent to me. If there was a disruption or noise or chaos, Sean was sent to me. And every time he walked into my office, his shoulders were up above his ears because he knew what this visit meant. It meant he was about to be punished. And Sean wasn't a bad child. He was 4 years old, bright, curious, energetic, but easily overwhelmed. So we kept doing what adults do. We corrected him. We warned him. We punished him. And none of that worked. Until one day, Sean was sitting in my office. His legs were swinging beneath the chair. His head was down, no eye contact. And in that moment, I remember thinking, this is something that is going to change the course of my career. I said, we are not building this child. We have just not designed a system for him to thrive in. Because children don't rise to our intentions. They rise to the systems we build around them. Now, science tells us something differently. It tells us that behavior is not just emotional, it's neurological. There was a study done by the Harvard Center for the Developing Child, and that research was profound. They said that when a child is afraid, their brain isn't working. When a child is threatened, they can't learn or reason. And when a child is punished, shamed, or made to feel guilty, their brain goes into survival mode. So the thinking part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, goes offline. And all that's left in charge is the amygdala. When we punish children, we're not teaching, we're triggering. There are 3 things that happen in a house when children are stabilized. And those 3 things that you need for a brain to be stabilized is predictability, purpose, and pathways. First, predictability. Now, predictability is something that the child looks at and says, I need to know what comes next. I need to know that bedtime has a routine. I need to know that homework has a start and a finish. I need to know that rules are made before I start eating. That's what children need to know. What comes next? Second, purpose. They need a role, a job, something that they can feel good about, something where they know that if I'm in this house, there is a purpose for me to be here. And finally, pathways. Not calm down, but actual tools that we give to our children. A place to move, a place to reset, so that their bodies can feel regulated, where the brain and the body works together. So what I want to tell you today is that in real life, when we talk about predictability and purpose and pathways, this is what it looks like in real time. Take mealtime, for example. When you have a meal, in most homes, the parents put out the food first and then the rules. Sit down, eat the food, stop playing. But in homes that are sequenced, there is a rule and structure. So the structure is, wash your hands, here's your meal, it's time to eat. It's the rule first, and then the behavior. For homework, homework is about being able to just be a part of the culture. They have a role, they have a title, they're leading. So they, the child, says, here's the timer, I'm gonna set it. Here is the location. I'm going to sit down and do my homework. And then here is my homework. I'm finished. This is what children do when they're leading inside a culture. They know that they are accepted and valued and capable and forgiven and loved. And then finally, bedtime. Not countdowns, not 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go to bed, but pathways, a way to regulate, a way to transition, a predictable end for them, like bath, brush, book, breathe, bedtime. When predictability, purpose, and pathways are in congruence, then children, we don't have to force them to behave. The system is already designed for them to do that. And that's what happened with Sean. With Sean, we created a system, and he fell into place. Now, not immediately. It took some time. But eventually, Sean fell into place. And it wasn't because we fixed Sean. It was because we fixed the system. That's the shift. Discipline is not something you do to a child. It's something you build around the child. Recently, I met a mom, and she was having a 2-year meltdown because she could not get her child to bed. She pulled me aside and said, "My son, I think, is broken. I'm broken. We're failing each other." And then she paused and said, "We're not broken. The system was just invisible." And so every environment that a child is in is always speaking. It's always teaching and always speaking. It's just sometimes we don't see that. When systems are unclear, children resort to behavior. But when systems are clear, the behavior designs itself. Now, this isn't about being strict. This is about being clear. Because when there's clarity, children don't feel like they're failing. They understand the expectations. When behavior changes, systems change. And when systems change, children stop believing that they're broken. Because children don't rise to our intentions, they rise to the systems we build around them. Thank you.